such a warm welcome. I am so honored to be standing in front of all of you tonight. I was anxious as I pondered what message I wanted to convey. Talking publicly and openly about my body and its flaws is discomforting. I feel vulnerable, especially when many women who see this, and people on social media who see this, won't know what endometriosis is or believe that something could wreak such havoc on a person. But then I realize that's exactly why I have to talk about it. My discomfort and vulnerability is inconsequential compared to the millions around the world who suffer in silence and feel completely hopeless, just as I once did. We endo warriors must support each other, and it's critical for everyone who can potentially help us to know how much we need them. My symptoms started when I was 15. Though relatively mild for several years, they became significantly more intense when I hit my 20s. I got through my cycle days by crying, usually in solitude, and extremely embarrassed of my symptoms. When the pain peaked in my mid-20s, I dove deep into my research, determined to diagnose myself. And I did, but I didn't get there alone. I learned all about endometriosis from countless endo warriors, brave enough to share their stories with total strangers like me on Reddit, Instagram, YouTube, and several other platforms. The isolation and hopelessness went away when I felt this connection. Not only did I feel less alone, but I felt the confidence to finally fight for my health and no longer take no for an answer. More than a dozen physicians repeatedly told me that my ultrasounds looked normal, to just take pain medicine, to get more rest, or that my period symptoms were typical for a woman, making me feel like a true drama queen. This attitude toward me persisted for years, to the point that I began to question my own sanity. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, feeling inexplicable pain that worsens, and the cause won't be diagnosed until 2033. The average wait time for a diagnosis of endometriosis is 10 years. That is our reality, and that needs to change. Thank you. I'll never forget, while visiting my boyfriend Christian one weekend in North Carolina, I felt stabbing pains in my lower back, worse than ever before. This didn't feel like my typical period flares, this just felt straight up evil. I knew something was horribly wrong, and I just didn't know how I was going to get through it. Through my research before this visit, I was convinced I had endometriosis, but I had yet to find a doctor who believed in me. Christian immediately drove me to the emergency room and then took it upon himself to call his NFL team physician, like the NFL, that's who I had to go to, who referred me to Dr. Villasegar, and that was the beginning of my journey to discovering I have rectovaginal endometriosis. Christian has never left my side, and I know I'm one of the fortunate ones in that respect. Too many friendships and loves are lost because people don't know or understand what we're experiencing, and we can't explain it to them because we don't know what's wrong. Thank you for all those who have supported us when we needed your patience and compassion, including a lot of people in this room. Countless women, yes, an applause to that. Countless women in all industries have lost jobs or careers or have been mistreated in other ways because we don't know what day or time our bodies will attack us. It adds more layers of pain, psychologically, emotionally, and financially. Chronic pain is already incredibly isolating, and to feel like your symptoms are not validated is heartbreaking. Do they think I'm lying? I would think to myself. I'll never forget those moments of complete despair. Thank you so much to organizations and advocacy groups like EndoFound, which I have proudly represented now for more than 2 years. EndoFound fights for a disease that has been ignored for centuries. They provide sanitary products to poverty-stricken patients. They educate school children so they can be diagnosed sooner. They provide vital information through their blog and patient days. I am so grateful to everyone at EndoFound for what you have done for me and thousands of others. I will always be a voice for you. Tonight is a continuation of my endometriosis journey, but it's also a beginning for me. Before my surgery in November 2020, I couldn't have imagined I'd ever talk about this to anyone, let alone a room of 400 people in the heart of New York City. Now I can't imagine not talking about it. Thank you. To those who don't have endometriosis, but you know someone who does, please never stop loving them and fighting for them. And to those who have it, or one day will have it, you have my word that I will always have your back, just as those who came before me continue to have mine. Thank you so much.